TJ, can y'all hold on? Sorry. Can y'all go downstairs in the basement, please? Nobody's quiet. Nobody's quiet. I need quiet. Can everybody just go to the basement, please, for a little while until I finish this?
You don't ever be in the room. Everybody be quiet here.
T John was the one talking.
Now they can't be quiet because they don't have nothing in their hands.
T John was in there talking.
So go in the basement.
Yes, please.
Basement cool. Basement cool. What are you gonna do there? They have no heat there. Basement is very cold.
Okay, so don't go to the basement, but I need quiet. It's too much noise.
Teacher, be quiet.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so my name is Bernadette Henry, and I am a mom of three, two special needs, a wife. I work full time as a mental health case manager, have been doing it for the last 20 plus years. I am a jump rope coach, life coach, sister, friend, cousin, full time student. And I just love life. I love to laugh. I love to be like the sunshine in someone's day. I love to spread happiness, spread joy, and that's all things energy and fun. I basically just make it work, you know. Like I said, I named a lot of roles that I play in my life, and I just take it day by day. You know, there is no such thing as complete balance, but you know, it's whatever you give your time and attention to is what's going to take precedence, and then there's other things that may fall behind. So if you're pursuing school and work, you may not be able to attend your child's activities. If you're engrossed in your child's activities, you may not be able to go out, you know, with your friends for social time. So it's really, you know, moving things around because everything is important. So you just move it around and make it work for you. And when you need rest, you need rest. When you need to pause, you pause. When you want to push the pedal more, you push the pedal more. But it's about really accepting that these things will happen. We cannot be everything to everybody and not even everything to ourselves. So we just have to find a way to make it happen, to make it work, and don't feel guilty about it. Right. I would say time really is a big struggle. Time, realizing that they do need the help, transitioning from, okay, I want to go get this information for free to, oh, I need to pay for this accountability. different things like that. And then with me per se, when I started social media, I wasn't an entrepreneur. I didn't have like these services and products and things like that. So even on my side, it takes a lot of work with setting boundaries and not being there because accessibility is a business killer. And prior to the businesses, I used to answer anybody had a question, boom, I had an answer. And now, quite honestly, any answer or any question that anyone asks me can be found on Google, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, the answer is there. So it's like you specifically want the answer from me, but in actuality, it's out there in the universe, and you just have to find it. So really, um, in addition to it being on an audience, it's really on me as well because I, there are people online that may have started in the game later than me and they're doing amazing, but that's because they came online as a business as opposed to, okay, you're very personable, you're very personable, you're very personable, boom, now here's the business. And it's like me having to make that shift and transition, like, okay, this is actually a business now, and I'm not as available or accessible as I was before. And that a little bit, I still have a little bit of guilt in that, but I've done like an amazing job over the years, just kind of pulling back and saying no a lot, and offering the services that I do have. Right. 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 And it's true because like I have a friend from high school, and we've remained, friends throughout the years, and she developed her businesses throughout the years, and I've had to pay that fee, just to get what I needed from her programs and services. And I didn't mind because it's all about respecting others' businesses. I've had, like I said, followers or friends turned coaches for me, and I've had to do what everyone else had to do. I didn't ask you, hey, can I have a discount? Can I have this? Can I have that? No, you provide the service. And just as I would pay, maybe I could pay a different person providing the same service, why would I not respect my friend's business and provide them with that same respect of paying for a service? It's at the end of the day, it's a service. Right. Right. And that's really one reason why I don't target like friends and family when it's time to have products and services. It's like, okay, these are the roles that they play in your life. They're your friends, they're your family. So I'm gonna let y'all stay there. And if you choose or want to support, it's totally fine, because at the end of the day, there are a world of strangers that wants what you have, right? They want it, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in another country. And I've seen the proof. I've had people, like, even when I had my book, like, there were men in Italy buying my book, and just people around the different, areas of the world that people were actually supporting. And I say to sometimes leave the friends, leave the family, because sometimes they're going to support you when it's popular to do so. And then there are some that really can see your vision. And then also, too, you got to remember, okay, some of these friends are people that are not in business, but I can call you in the middle of the night and vent, So, like, they play their role. They may not support maybe money wise or sharing a post, but if I need to talk about something that's totally unrelated, as like why we became friends in the first place, I can call you. And it doesn't put a strain on that area of the relationship. So I just say keep people in their places. And when you are building, whether it's online, in person, by text, by email, you will start to develop that audience that do want what you have, because what you have is not for everybody. And that can include family and friends. Yes, the support is great, but I'm not going to make you feel bad or guilty if you don't. Right. I say the experience and the maturity. So when you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s, like, you have a set way of thinking about things. So the same way you thought about something when you were 20 is going to take a different meaning when you turn 30 than like when you turn 40. Everything takes a different situation or a different turn. And an example is, something, happened to me, bad as a teenager, and my teenager mind saw it like one certain way. But then when I turned 20, okay, my mind saw it a total different way. And it's like in the 30s, it's like things shift with, experience, education, maturity, growth, self-work, therapy, whatever it is that you have to do during these different stages. It manifests in how you really internalize things that happen to you, for you, through you. Mhm. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. No, no, I wasn't gonna say anything. Yes, I started jumping rope as a little girl. It was something fun to do. And in my early 20s, I went to a gym. And of course, I joined because of the jump rope class on the schedule. At the time, it wasn't about fitness. I didn't know anything about it, weight loss, all of the things. I just wasn't into it. I just saw that class. And every day I used to go, go to work, go to gym, go to work, go to the gym. That was kind of life. No children, no marriage, no anything, just and no like not too much stress. And it was just something I did for fun. And then in my 30s, as life began to become busy with having children, now it became an outlet. So a vacation, if you will. And I always tell people, hey, once I put on the music and I start to jump rope, I'm like on vacation away from my problems, the issues, work, kids, drama, whatever, depression or whatever it is. I'm taking a vacation away from it. And as time went on in my late 30s and to my 40s, it now became a way to bridge both the physical and the mental emotional part of it. So using exercise to not only just have fun, but now to help me with my health. So I was able to eliminate pre-diabetes, through exercise. I was able to, lower the blood pressure, not completely eliminate it, but it's helped me to manage, different medical conditions. It keeps me I'm happy. It keeps me sane. It's something that gives me confidence. So it jump rope, it takes all of these different meanings, which is now why I don't talk about jump rope for weight loss or jump rope for looking good and feeling, oh well, yes, feeling good, but because a lot of times, women, they start to get older. We get older and we think we can go back to who we were when we were in our 20s, where we can go to the gym and if the goal is to lose weight, boom, it'll fall off magically. Or um our bodies, like our knees were much better, our whole like physical, was so much better. But now as you get older, you got to work and have children, you're worried about, hey, look, am I gonna like have the urinary incontinence, or is this good for my knees, can I take this, do I have the time, so um uh, yeah, can I fit it in? And you have to really sit there and figure out, okay, what reassess, why am I doing this? Okay, I'm doing this to have a little fun. I'm doing this to, just keep healthy. I'm doing this to, take a break and a minute away from the pressures of life. And I think exercise in general really takes a different meaning as you begin to age. Right. Yeah. And you know what? And it's funny because like even up until like recent, my whole thing on menopause is like, okay, that's when the period stops, you know? And so a lot of women are not even thinking about like perimenopause and all these different things that are going on. It's just, okay, I gained weight. My bones hurt when I get up. I want to go to bed earlier, you know, all these things, but really don't put two and two together. So I think it really is, you know, the lack of education and the fact that what our meaning of menopause is so like different, you know. And you know, like I'll go on social media and sometimes now I'll look at menopause or midlife woman, and most of the time it's like older looking white women that you see, but you don't really see representation and people openly talking about it. And now it makes it as if the face of menopause is like an older woman in their 60s, and it's just not the case. And you know, I was looking online and I saw a video about Oprah Winfrey, and she was going through menopause, but when she went to the doctor, they were giving her all kinds of tests and gave her a certain diagnosis, but it was really attributed to menopause. And the symptoms, the sign, and I'm not like the pro and expert of this, but a lot of signs and symptoms of menopause, perimenopause can mirror certain medical conditions. And if you're not aware, it kind of gets misconstrued. And you're like, oh my gosh, okay, is this what's going on? Is that what's going on? I don't know what's going on. But in actuality, it could be related to perimenopause, menopause, and the various changes that your body, mind, everything is going through. Wow. Right. 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 Mhm. Right. 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 Absolutely. Right. And sometimes yeah, sometimes people like that's what happens. It's not their experience at the moment. So it's like, okay, when that experience start to happen, okay, now I can deal with it. Now I can look into it. And that's because eventually they're gonna come to you, right? So it's just like, being an autism parent and all these years, kind of talking about it, giving experiences about it. And people are not really going to gravitate to you right away, but they're going to remember something you said. And I get those DMs from time to time. Oh, I remember when you said this. Okay, can you help me with this? So people are going to listen to it and they may not engage in that conversation, or it's about how you're engaging in the conversation. So, like right now, I have friends that, whether they're new friends, whether they're friends I've had since forever, and even the tone of our conversations are different. We may not say like perimenopause or menopause, but when we go out, okay, look, okay, we got to go out at 2 o'clock as opposed to 9, 10 that we used to do. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Oh my God, I'm spending all my time in the supermarket. So I got to buy food for all of these men in the house and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of our way of talking about it without saying, okay, this is what it is. And now we get in front of that audience that is interested about it with perimenopause, going back to that. So I know leading up since our conversation like last week or so, I did like a search on 10 symptoms and how jump rope can help. So like on my reels, that's kind of been the caption. So at least for 10 reels, that's the caption. It's related to menopause. And then like on Facebook, I think I did, matter of fact, after we spoke, I did like 10 myths about menopause or 4 or 5 or whatever the number was. And I posted it on Facebook, and so many women, like there were a lot of women that came to it and commented on it, and some laughed, some gave their experiences, some said how their experiences are good, how some of them experiences are bad. So it's someone really just starting that conversation. And once someone is bold enough to start it, then it just takes a fire of its own. And those that are interested in it, they're going to engage with you. And those that are not, they are watching, and they will come to you when it's their turn, when they know, okay, finally I can relate to this because X, Y, and Z happened. Or they might not even realize things are happening until we say it. They're like, oh, that's why X, Y, and Z. Okay, I get it. And sometimes they may want to start that conversation with you, or they may just say, okay, when like I'm really ready and accepting of it, then I'll be ready to have that conversation. Right. You're welcome. No problem. I've always wanted to help. Just looking back to childhood, I my first career choice was a queen, and then it evolved to being a teacher, a librarian, a social worker. And I would say, I mean, I did teach one school year, but the closest that I came to it was being a case manager, and even taking it back a little, I lived a life, right? A crazy, insane life in my 20s. I always tell people I just kind of threw it away. Like I was just doing any and everything. And, I tell people my experiences and they're like, no, not you. And I'm like, yes, me. And I had a journal, and that journal said, when I get myself together, I am going to help people. So everything like really came full circle. And I also too had to do that work for myself. So in my early 20s, I had a time where I was really depressed because I grew up a certain lifestyle, very religious, and you have to do this and that and this and that. And if you were not this and that, then you were like trash with garbage. That's kind of how I was made to feel. So as a result, I was judged all the time. So now when you're in that place where you're judged, now when you are going through life, or when life is life in, you have nobody to talk to because you're afraid you're going to be judged. And I let all of that accumulate. And then one day, after, like I was sitting in church, and I was, they just said the wrong thing. And I said, you know what, when I go home, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the attempt. So I went home from church service that day, and I literally did what I did. And something snapped, and I was like, you know what, let me take myself to the hospital somewhere, and I went to the hospital, and they, had to do what they had to do. And that began like the journey to healing. So now therapy was introduced into my life, and working on myself, and even though I was still living recklessly during those times, something started. I knew, okay, there is a way to get through this, and I really took it a bit more seriously when I had the first pregnancy that stuck, right? Because I had like a history of miscarriages, but this pregnancy stuck. And my OBGYN, he was amazing. Dr. Ryan, I'll never forget him. He was a doctor, but he was more than a doctor. He was like a therapist in a sense, because he knew that I was like really suffering and going through it. And he would talk to me sometimes. And then, he referred me to the therapist. So then I started, going back to therapy. And then when I became pregnant with my second son, I went back to therapy again because, like I said, I'm still, life is life in, and I still don't get it, and they had a special therapy for like victims, victims of abuse. And it was a special pilot program with the hospital, and they chose me to be a part of it. And that thing was so eye opening. Just it explained why I was doing what I was doing. And it was just like, wow, it really goes back to your childhood, the things that you feel, the things that you were made to feel. And that's why, when you do go to therapy, sometimes it's great to have a general therapist, but it's also good to have a therapist that specializes in that area that you need. And I think that just knowing that I had that, it just played a huge role, because you cannot really help somebody until you help yourself, right? And even though I've been a case manager, and since my 20s, when I was in my mess, like I said, I've been doing this since I was like 19 years old, I was like 20, I was still being able to help people. But once I started to get myself together, it opened me up to an awareness to be able to kind of listen and learn and grow from my clients. Because I tell people, you can get all the education in the world, you can read all the books that you want, but it's nothing like getting that real life experience and that lived experience through someone else telling that experience. So, like I said, now I've been a case manager for over 20 years, been life coaching, and now I decided after 18 years go back to school to finish my bachelor's, to finish what I started, and then next year moving now to go into the licensed mental health counseling program, to now put some respect on my name, right? Because it's great for me to sit here and say, hey, yeah, I've been a case manager for 20 something years. I've had life experience. I've been to therapy. I've done these life coaching certifications. But no, let's go and really put some respect on what I've been doing. Let's put some respect on my name. Let's see that Bernadette Henry LMHC. Let's do that. And now you're gonna apply that theory to what I've been practicing. So I think things always just come full circle. A lot of times, you look at life and you say, okay, I'm going to do this and it's going to happen this way, it's going to happen that way. And it took me like over 40 years to become the woman that I am today. And everything works together for its good. It's like not about rushing the process or saying, okay, this is it. It needs to happen in 2 months. It needs to happen in 2 years. It needs to happen. Stop putting a timetable. Like, do the work, and everything that you've done up until that point, it's all going to work together and connect the dots. Yes. Right. Yeah, because Yeah, because you know what? Like, a lot of people have a misconception about therapy. A lot of people think you're supposed to go sit with a therapist and you tell them something and they give you the solution. And that's the total opposite from how it works, right? A lot of people get upset and they're like, oh, I don't want to hear these questions about my childhood. I don't want to answer. But it's like we repress so much that you don't realize how our experiences shape who we are, shapes our behavior, shapes our mindset. Those things that were passed down from our parents, and I talk about that in the book, things that worked for generations before us, that's not how it works today. And a lot of people truly have this misconception about therapy. Like, when you go to therapy, they're not going to sit there and give you the answer. You're going to actually find your own answer. They're going to formulate things for you as you say it. And you also, too, have to be willing to be open and vulnerable, because it's going to hurt. Nothing about the healing process feels good. Like, we glorify healing. And I think sometimes people really have a misconception about what healing is. Healing hurts. Healing requires vulnerability. Healing requires transparency. Healing requires you to really look at the good, the bad, the ugly. And that's the problem. People are so afraid to look at that ugly that they're going to hold themselves back. Like, because a lot of times Things are other people's fault, yes, but then also too there are things that we have done that are our fault, and a lot of times people don't want to look like the bad person, but sometimes you have to be able to look at yourself from that way, like, okay, I'm not perfect, these things happen, and I may not have connected these bad things to something else in a previous life, in a previous time, but it's all a part of the story, and it all counts and it all matters. And until you're willing to put all of that on the line, the healing is going to be so ineffective. And that's why you're going to be like me. You're going to, yeah, you could start therapy, but you're still living recklessly because you just ain't ready. You know what I'm saying? And the therapist, they can see past that. Like, you have to be ready, ready. So me going to therapy in my 20s was different from how it looked like when I was in my 30s, from what it looked like in the 40s, right? To eternity. It's always going to look different. And while we're on the topic of therapy and life coaching, let's talk about the difference in the two. Like, therapists, their job is to dig deep and find those issues and give you coping mechanisms. Life coaches, their job is to hold you accountable. So if you do have these mental health issues, please go see a therapist. The life coach is going to hold you accountable to these things that maybe the therapist is telling you, or once you identify these issues and you have a plan of action, that life coach is going to hold you accountable to ensure that you do these things. A lot of people now, and especially in the age of life coaching, people like, oh, I don't want no therapist, let me just go get a coach, right? And it's nothing wrong with either or. You just have to know the reasoning behind why you are getting this person, or when it's appropriate to go to this person versus that person. And you can do both at the same time, right? So the therapist, they can help you with those internal issues that you're going through, and the life coach can hold you accountable to the work that the therapist is telling you to do, right? So it all works hand in hand. But like I said, you really have to be willing to look at the good, bad, and ugly, be transparent, authentic, transparent, and all of those things to get the healing that you truly need. And it's not going to be pretty. Mm-hmm. Boundaries. Right. Right. My why is to help others and give back. It makes me feel good. Makes me feel good. And it shows that everything that I've gone through, it wasn't in vain. Right. Absolutely. And that's why I talk about it, because people are not going to be so open and willing and honest to want to talk about it. Even up to leaving a comment, a lot of times people are not going to do it, but you will find them in your inbox. And some people go as far to, hey, can I call you? That's when I'll send that link. But um these things have to be talked about because it's considered taboo. And I've received flack from like maybe family members for talking about certain things, but at the end of the day, it's my story, it's my reality. And if it's going to help someone else, because I'm not the only person that's gone through what I've gone through, like there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that have gone through what I've gone through, or worse or better. I don't never like to put a quantity on someone's problems, because what's bad for me what was bad for me, or what something that I can easily go through, it may take you out, or something that you're easily able to go through, it may take me out. So I really don't like to put um a quantity on someone's like issues. Even working as a case manager, like I said, I am not a therapist, but as a case manager, if I'm working with clients in their homes, or if they're coming to my office to see me from their residence, we're like the closest person to them, because they'll tell their doctor what they need to get that certain medicine, or they'll tell the medical doctor this thing, or they'll tell their social worker this thing, they'll tell a family member this thing. But because we're kind of in a place where we're just really helping, assessing, and holding them accountable to their goals, kind of like a life coach, we don't they don't have anything really to gain by lying to us. So I always say the case manager is the glue that hold the pieces together. But and in that essence, a lot of times the clients trust you a lot more. And I've heard so many stories. I mean, who like the stories that I've heard, and like I said, I don't take that position of providing that therapeutic advice because I like to stay within the limits, of my role. But it does help. Like it helps me grow. It helps me see life from a different perspective. And sometimes I do give an answer of comfort or what I may need to give in that time. But it's just really learning on that level, like above. And I forgot my point of saying all of that. I had a point, but you know um yeah, like I said, you find somebody that you trust, and once you do that, like I said, it not only helps the person grow, but it helps me grow as an individual, which helps me provide the help to others. Probably on Instagram. Yeah, so it all started. Dr. Oz was the first media thing I did, and I worked for Tribeca Film Fest for like a couple of years, working at their ESPN Sports Day. I've done New York Times, the Drew Barrymore Show, Advil commercial. I was brought in as a special guest for Daily Burn, a huge exercise online platform. Um, I've done First Woman magazine. Uh, there's just so many. It's just so many different online Pop Sugar Fitness. They wrote something about me. Pix 11, Good Morning America, Today Show, um, various radio shows. Just so much. A host of podcast interviews, just a lot. And I've been blessed, to work with some amazing people. I'm being a brand ambassador for some major brands. So Mizuno, where I get, wear my shoes. So I'm the best for running, walking, jumping. Nick's Sports Bra, Cross Rope, Jump Ropes. I've been affiliated with them for a very long time. So I've done some campaigns for some major companies. So it's really been a blessing that jump rope would take me this far. I've never imagined that, like, this little PVC cord, a little girl jumping rope from the Bronx. I never imagined that it would turn into these major opportunities and being noticed. And um even though, like, I do, help people with the jump rope and the things like that, now it's like, okay, using the words to my mouth, using the story, and really relating it. And that's where jump came into be, journey of the underdog making progress, right? So with the jump rope, when you turn that rope, it's expected that you jump over it. And it's the same thing with our lives. When stress comes our way, we have to be willing to take action to jump over that rope, because if we don't, it's just going to hit our foot, and we're never going to accomplish anything. So um, I just feel like really, really blessed that I was able to use such an instrument to influence and impact people, not just in the United States, but really all around the world. Yes. Yeah, so you can yeah, so you can find me at www.makeitfunnyc.com. That's my website. You can find me on all social media at Make It Fun NYC, MakeitFunNYC, or Bernadette T. Henry. I'm on everything. I teach in-person jump rope classes at least twice a month. I coach women. I I'm looking to certify my jump rope class so that other people can teach it around the world, worldwide. Uh, I wrote a book, published a book back in December of 2022, and it's called Jumping the Rope, Move Yourself and Manifest Your Success. So it really talks about gaining the courage and confidence to really go after your goals and your dreams. And it does address a lot of the internal things, the internal excuses that we use as to why we can't manifest the things that we want. A lot of people always say, I don't have money, I don't have time, I don't have this, I don't have that. But a lot of times it can be anger, unforgiveness, traumas that we haven't worked through, and things like that. So I have all of these things going on. Some at like a little lower level, just because I'm in school, I'm working, I have the kids, but I'm there, and you can definitely find me. I do speaking. I host jump rope workshops. So whatever you need, feel free to reach out. And yeah, the calendar is getting like really really busy, so definitely reach out. Yeah, I teach jump rope. Yeah, I teach jump rope year round. Matter of fact, my next class in New York City is April 30th. It's usually every other week. So I actually had a class. I taught class last weekend. I was supposed to teach class next weekend, but I took off to, take my kids on vacation. So then the next class is 2 weeks from there. And a lot of times I am mindful of like maybe big parades and things like that that are going on. So I'll sometimes rearrange the schedule accordingly. But my schedule is there until June. And then once June comes, I'll fill the schedule from July to December. Yes. Make it make it fun NYC on Instagram. Also, I have a Bernadette T. Henry page on Instagram. TikTok Jump Rope is dope. YouTube Burn April 20. But just Google my name and everything will come up. Thank you. Right. Thank you, Natasha. Definitely honored as well. And I'm happy to see everything that you are accomplishing and reinventing yourself in midlife. And that's what it's all about. Like, we don't have to sit here and shrivel up and live out the years of our lives. So we can keep moving forward and evolving and becoming all of these different things. Like when we first met, we weren't doing the same things. And it's like, look what we've done and accomplished throughout the years. And it's okay to say, hey, this is who I am now. This is who I am now. It's totally fine. And you've been an amazing example. And I'm definitely proud of you. And, just looking forward to everything that you continue to do. Yes. Hmm. Right. Wow. Right. Hmm.